how's it going? Hey, wanted to talk today. I've been thinking about this musky thing here quite a bit. And May isn't that far away. That's, April, May is about the time I start musky fishing, usually after I get all the turkey tanks filled, mine and a couple of girls and whatever. But been kind of thinking about it and kind of thinking about springtime and tactics and things I like to use in the springtime and how I'm going to go about it, and was kind of thinking, hey, you know what? I'm gonna narrow down and really kind of pinpoint what I want to do here this year in the beginning, and kind of take the knowledge I had last year on a couple of lakes, and there's one lake in particular I really like to fish in the spring, and it just produces well in the spring. So I'd like to sit here and kind of go through kind of my top 5 for spring. Maybe not top 5 lures, but definitely top 5 techniques, and just kind of thought I'd show them to you guys, share them with you. Anybody that's new to musky fishing, I mean, I'm by no means an expert. I've been musky fishing very seriously for about 3-4 years now, but just thought I'd share, see if I can help anybody out, give any ideas. I'll put links in the description below for all the lures I'm going to show you guys, and then you can check them out, see if you like them. And then if you got any better ideas or something different, I'm always up for learning, and this is a sport we like to help each other in. So you got something different that you do, maybe throw a comment down below. And yeah, so we'll get started here. Kind of the top 5, I'll start with, maybe not my favorite, but we'll start at the other end of that with number 5, and it's Topwater. And it's kind of small Topwater, something I can work real slow. This is I think it's a Phantom Freak, and it's got a smaller profile. And I know a lot of people say, no, you don't throw Topwater early in the spring. Well, I'm telling you, with the success I had with it last year, and just listening to other musky seminars and things like that, if this thing isn't skipping on the ice, muskies are going to get it. And the nice thing about it floating is you can retrieve this thing real slow. Nice, easy slap on the water, nice churn. You can throw it over top of, we got a lot of down trees and stuff where I fish, or rock piles and whatever. You can just stop it there, and you can almost twitch it right there, and then you can do a straight retrieve and whatever too. But this particular one, most of my other Topwaters are a little bit larger, and I have one that looks like a loon, but it's got 2 props on it, makes quite a bit of noise, quite a bit of squeal, and I seem to have to go a little faster to get it to churn. But this is one that I can work really slow. And then kind of in the same fashion with Topwater, I've got a Marauder here, and this is a shorter one. I think this is a 5-inch, and it's just fantastic. You can work it real slow right over top of cover, and it's a walk the dog style. So, but you can also give it that pause, and it'll just kind of slide off on you if you give it the slack line, and it'll just hang there, and that seems to really trigger the strike. If it's something, I'll get a follow with it, and then I'll go back at them with something that's subsurface, and that usually seems to work too. This definitely helps rise a fish. You can find them and then go back at them subsurface. Also, if I rise a fish on another technique, say I'm just running a bucktail or something else, some kind of twitch bait or a glide bait or something real slow, I'll go back to that spot then a little bit later, and I'll work the Topwater over top of them, and that's worked out for me too. That's gotten a lot of strikes that way. So it kind of goes in line with just doing something different and changing up the technique when you go back. But, just kind of gives them that different look, and if they're ready to feed, they're ready to feed. So, slow-moving Topwaters, a lot of noise, but you can work them real slow. So that's one technique I like to use a lot. And then to kind of keep going with that stop, pause, or move, pause kind of deal, I get into glide baits. This is a Squirrely Hellhound, and it doesn't have the squirrely anymore. I lost that at some point last year and never got to putting it back on. And then a Suick. This Hellhound is fantastic. It does sink, but it sinks real slow, and it's got a walk the dog technique to it, and then it'll really drift off on you, and as it sinks, it kind of flutters down. And this particular one's got a lot of flash. This little piece of white on the front, you can see that thing from way out in your cast, and it's absolutely fantastic. And it's gotten a lot of, I've raised a lot of fish with it, moved a lot of fish, and gotten hit on it pretty good. But fast reel with this for sure, because you got to be able to catch up to it. You know, you let that line slack and it drifts off and they come at it. You got to be able to catch up to them. And then, like I said, the Suick Thriller. This is one of the, oh, what do they call that? The impact plastic ones. And this thing was by far my top lure last spring. It brought so many fish to the boat. And I actually never had one hit it. But, I mean, I had musky after musky after musky following this thing to the boat. And all I was doing was just giving it straight pulls, and it was banging the rocks with its nose. And this nose got just beat to crap. But, I mean, I was throwing it in 5, 6, 7, 8 foot of water, and if it was shallow enough to bang the rocks, it banged, and they followed, and they were right on it the whole time. They moved when it moved, and they just never went for it. But I would go back at them then with a bucktail, or I think I had one actually was throwing this, the Suick, and then went back about 10 minutes later after moving a fish. I think it was like a 36-inch fist, and ended up having him strike on this one then. It just worked out really good. So, again, you know, going from straight retrieve topwater can kind of pause to the walk the dog to now we're walking the dog subsurface, and then just kind of a jerkbait underwater. And it's real slow moving. You know, this Suick will back itself out of cover. If you hit some rocks, it backs itself out. Hit some brush, as long as they don't get hooked up, it'll back itself out. So, works great for throwing it around cover. And then to kind of stick with the slow retrieve still, because these fish are heavy and they're lethargic and not doing a lot, you know, I like these mid-sized bulldogs. I kind of keep it with the shorter lures, smaller profile, and, you know, a bulldog is just fantastic at any time of year. And this one is just absolutely, I mean, it's got tooth marks all over it. It's just chewed up. I might have to glue this one together. But, you know, that tail provides so much action, and if you can get into a Medusa or the, what do they call them, the double dog with the two tails, but these things are killer year round, and it's just rise and fall, rise and fall, rise and fall, and they catch fish, period, year round. So we're at 3 now. Let's look at number 4, and now 4 and 5 are kind of wrapped in together for me. But if you're not throwing bucktails as a musky fisher at any time of the year, then, you know, you're missing something in your tackle box, because bucktails have by far probably hooked up more fish than any other lure. And then you throw in the ease of use, and the hookup percentage is just phenomenal. So, you know, again, I like to stick with smaller profiles. I got a bunch of cowgirls here. I think this one's a booty tail or a booty call. But, you know, I know for sure I hooked one about, he was 36 last year, right in the spring on this one, and had several follows. This color on the lake I was on was just fantastic. It's got purple double eights, and they're fluted or whatever, and then, you know, not much different than the Showgirls. Again, gold double eights. These are just fantastic lures. That tinsel just kind of undulates in the water as you're bringing it in. Not a lot of triggering action needed. I recommend it. I definitely recommend. But, you know, these double eights, you can really kind of slow retrieve them. And I think this one's got double sixes, maybe double sevens. And then just a smaller, I think it's a baby cowgirl, baby girl or whatever. But they're just fantastic. Have that tinsel on there with the accents and whatever. Just the way it undulates in the water, I think it produces its own strike without having to, you know, pulse the hair or anything like that. So definitely throwing these. And then by far just the easiest thing to throw when it comes to bucktails and being able to go real slow and keep your reel retrieve slow is just single eights. I forget what these are. These are the I think these are the Hirsch Ghost tail, and they're an actual bucktail hair. We got the 2 treble hooks on them, and we got another one here, black and red, and I think this is called the walleye color. But just real slow retrieve. Got that single blade, real easy to spin. You can work it real slow over cover, and they produce fish like any bucktail you're ever gonna see. It's by far the #1 technique, and it's year-round like that. But so we got the Hearst Ghost, and then I get into, you know, obviously we got the Musky Harassers. Again, they got the willow blades on them. Just real easy turning, black and orange, classic, you know, toothy critter lure, and just fantastic lures. But the one thing I do like to do to, you know, my bucktail hair, my hairstyle jigs, spinners, is I like to put on an additional spinner blade. It's just a little leaf. And it just adds that flash, kind of a teaser trailer or whatever you want to call it. And I've had that create more follows. I just take a piece of shrink wrap, set it in there, shrink it on, and we're good to go. And that has upped my percentages on these hairstyle spinners. I don't have it on my harassers, but I thought at one point I did, but maybe I got a different one. I must have, yeah, there it is. I got a couple different ones with them on there. But that little bit of flash back there, I think it just brings them up a little closer, kind of tantalizes them a little bit, and then before you know it, they're smacking these things, or you get them in the 8, and I mean, they're just bucktails all day long. Another style to stick with that single 8 is these are the, I think these are Musky Mayhems, and then this one's a lily tail. But they're just a single hook, and these things are fantastic if you're in weed cover, or if you're in, say, you know, switchgrass or reeds or something like that. You can basically make these things weedless, and just absolutely dynamite. You can rip them right through there. That big grub tail is spinning, and again, single 8 blade, and they're just slow moving, real easy, and you got that grub tail on there really adding some action. One thing I have noticed in the spring, and I noticed it last year, is that I was just getting more just nips on the grub tail. They were just hitting this. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to shorten this grub up and bring it up so the actual tail is just right off the back of that hook. So bring them in a little closer to that hook. Hookup percentage is a little different, you know, with this single hook. It's not like throwing 2 treble hooks in their mouth and you're probably going to pin them. And what I noticed last year is one of these got real shredded up, but they were just hitting the tail, and I was getting my tails cut off and shredded, and they weren't actually getting to the hook. So just something to think about. The only time I had problems with that was in the spring, though. So, you know, like I said, these are my top 5s. You know, my top 5 techniques. But it's what I go after in the spring. I'm sure there's a bunch of others. I'm sure everybody else has their own idea. But like I said, you know, this is what I do. This is what works for me. But just, I think the big thing is just keep the profile small. You're not going to go out there with your double 12s or your double 10s and be trolling and cranking. I mean, there's a place for it. I'm not much for a troller. I get bored easy, and it's kind of monotonous, but I know there's a business for that too as well. So if you like what you saw, you know, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, leave us a comment below if you know something different, or you got any different ideas. Maybe I'm missing something. You know, leave it down in the comments. I'll put a link in the description for all of these, and you know, if you see something you like, go ahead, get on there and get it. Again, you know, stick with us. I'll bring some more videos to you here soon. Hopefully we're fishing. Well, hopefully I'm bringing you a couple turkey videos here real soon. Turkey season's next week, so hang tight. Appreciate you watching.
Stay